All right, so in 1997, there was like this Batman movie, Batman and Robin. It turned out to be one of the worst, not just Batman movies, but like worst movies of all time. Mind you, this was like the fourth Batman movie since 1989. So Batman was making money, but this one specifically kind of dropped the ball. Well, it really did drop the ball because basically it was just trash. Like an ice villain and a heat villain teamed up together to somehow cause world domination. Don't know how that works. Batman had nipples. Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze. There was a bunch of neon lights. Vivica Fox was up in it randomly for some reason.
Say we heat things up.
My passion, thoughts for my bride alone.
Ooh. Talk about your cold shoulder.
And the whole thing just did not work. The movie was so bad that they put Batman on a bench for 8 years until they came up with a plan and decided, hey, we're going to do the exact opposite of what we did 8 years ago. We're going to make Batman more mature. We're going to make the movie more serious. We're going to make the action good. And we're just going to make it more realistic and just give new life into it. Yada, yada, yada. 8 years later, there's a movie called Batman Begins comes out. It's great. Everybody loves it. That movie gets 2 more sequels, The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Everybody's happy. Batman is great again. Now remember that story because after this election, I feel like we're at the Batman and Robin point of things.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
All right, so our Lord and Savior Trump is returning to office. Was hoping he couldn't do it. Teflon Don wins again. Now, when the election results came in, I can't say that I was like too surprised, especially seeing just how slippery this dude has been the last 8 years, well, his entire life. Like when you tell your followers to storm the Capitol and you've been impeached twice and you can still run for president with 34 felonies and everything like that, it's kind of like, you know what? It's not that surprising that you can get it if you made it this far. And just seeing how things are and people are in this country and just, seeing as how like a lot of people don't really think critically. It's not surprising. It's more disappointing. It's like, this is where we are again, especially when we had 4 years of knowing what this dude was about as president. Like, come on. But it's always just a rough reminder because when you look at someone like Kamala Harris, she makes sense as a president. And before we get into this, I just want to say I feel like we should all take a moment and be nice to an AKA just for the rest of the year and just show them support during these times. Like the AKAs were literally the first black sorority to be in the White House. They would have went wild if that woman became president. You wouldn't be able to tell those broads nothing at a college tailgate after this. Like, it'll be over. But Kamala just had the track record. She had the background. She was a district attorney. She worked in all branches of government. She knows how to speak. She knows how to debate and all that good stuff. Like, it was like out of the 2 options, of course, it would have been like, all right, which one would I want repping for me? And honestly, I was going for Kamala back in 2020 when she was running against Biden. I was just impressed by her. I thought she had the good credentials, and also I just thought she had like that fire to actually, handle some stuff. But I'll be honest, I did have doubts when she got into this race this time around. Mainly because she had 3 months left. I'm of the group who believed that, Joe Biden should have pulled out the race about a year ago, just so we can have more, bandwidth to work with. Like 3 months to run a campaign, that's a good story, but you kind of want to gamble that when, the end of that story is what makes or breaks it. Then on top of that, the last 8 years have just shown that it's kind of like very toxic for women. Not kinda, I gotta stop saying kinda. It's very toxic for women right now. You got a bunch of incels and red pill dudes out here doing podcasts talking about how much they hate women while also trying to hide the fact that they hate women, but they're blatantly saying that they hate women.
You sound like a stupid ass bitch. I'm trying to figure out why you rated me a 2 because we're not going off our interactions, we're going off beauty.
I don't like life.
I don't give a fuck. He's light skinned just like me. And you just gave him a 9. You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because
Shut when you think about it.
Roe v. Wade got overturned and Beyonce still hasn't won Album of the Year at the Grammys. Like, it hasn't been looking good for women these last 8 years. And that's why this time around, I was kind of pushing for Gavin Newsom to get the nomination because, given what we were up against, Gavin's tall, he's white, seemed like everybody likes him in California and stuff. He reminds me of Batman when I see him. So I'm like, you know what? If we gonna go up against, Joker, let's put Batman out there. But then Kamala started running and I started like getting a little bit of hope, which really didn't want to feel hope because I was like, I want to keep my expectations low. But once she said she was running and TikTok went crazy, I kind of got lost up in it a little bit. I was like, you know what? These memes are going crazy. People love memes. And I think people vote for Trump because he's entertaining. Kamala entertainment too. Like you've seen some of her work online.
You just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
We speak Merry Christmas. How dare we?
I love good news. Love good news. I just love good news. We did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States.
There was so much money being raised in a short amount of time, and on top of that, you had all of these endorsements. Like all of your rallies look like parties. I mean, I looked at the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention, and the Republican one looked lame as hell. They had Hulk Hogan. Who's a Hulk Hogan fan right now under the age of 60? You can make an entire playlist from the DNC and Kamala Harris's rallies and, have a good little cruising car playlist going with you. I can't name of one song that I would choose from a Trump rally that I'm just gonna be bumping in the club. Like, what am I listening to? Anna Maria? YMCA? And why does he like that song so much? It's kind of like the most random songs for him to like, but I digress. Everybody's different. Like all that stuff gave me hope. And the fact that, Trump got dumber and weirder within the last 4 years. So it really kind of made it just feel like, okay, maybe he's a little bit, I think she can take him.
I'm a better looking person
Oh my God.
than Kamala.
Hell no, man.
I couldn't believe it. She said, I had never heard that one.
And we already know what Trump's about, so I'm not even gonna go into that fully. But the thing is, I noticed with this election that people do have short-term memory. Like, I know one of the main reasons people voted for Trump was because everything's expensive. We see it. Like, rent's expensive, groceries expensive, grocery. My eggs are expensive. We get it. Your eggs are expensive, but you can buy a plane ticket to a Trump rally. I got you. But I think the thing people always seem to forget is that everything's been expensive since COVID, and it just hasn't stopped since. It's like once companies realize that they can raise prices and people will just pay for it because they need it, it's essential. They just kept doing that because it's like, all right, we're just gonna keep it going since y'all can do it and we can do it, so you might as well, just make us more money. Come on. Like in December 2019, my rent on my apartment was $710. 2 years later, that rent went up to $1,000. Mind you, this is an apartment in Mississippi. There should not be a single one-bedroom apartment that costs $1,000 in Mississippi when Brett Favre is taking welfare money. Like, that's just my opinion. A 2-bedroom with 1,000 square feet, I get it completely. And like another thing people have short memory with is like, they kept asking for Kamala's plan. The main thing you were hearing like the last month of the election was like, okay, but I'm not showing her plan. Mind you, Trump got on stage and just told you, I ain't even got a plan.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan?
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now, but
people saying Biden didn't do a single thing in office. Biden did a few things in office, to be honest. Actually, he kind of did a bit more than Obama, if we're being real. This Biden administration is the only reason I got some breathing room away from these student loans. Like, they coming, but, I got a little pushback from them. And I'm not even saying I'm just a big fan of the Biden administration. Like, they have their faults and everything, of course. Like, I believe all politicians lie, all presidents lie and stuff. I like Barack Obama. Barack Obama be lying a lot, too. Like, let's be real. But at the same time, I feel like people just forgot or didn't want to acknowledge what good was done within the last couple years, mainly because Biden was just old as hell.
oh my God, he needs some milk.
If we're being honest, ageism played a huge part in this election, until it didn't. But rightly so, because Biden was up here y'all saw that debate. He was in no condition to be up there running for president again. Like, who the hell? Like, Jill should have got him. But it seems like people's memory is just as bad as Biden. The way they would make it seem like the last 4 years have just been like the worst experiences of our lives. Like, I'm not sure about that. But the disappointing fact is just like, I feel like we probably need to go through this because some people just don't get it. Like, let's be honest. America voted for a bitch-ass nigga to be president for a second time after you had a 4-year break from him from the first time. Like I always say, if you voted for Trump initially, like in 2016, because you thought, he was gonna do something different, he was gonna shake the foundation and stuff and, put a businessman in there, I can kind of get you with that. I don't agree with it, but I can see where you're coming from. If you voted for him now, it's kind of like a question of character, because it's like, I don't know, when you see him go on these rallies and just speak in general, are you sure that that is the person that you want to represent you? He be acting like a bitch. Like, first of all, you refuse to accept the fact that you lost. You told people to storm the Capitol because the election was rigged because you lost. But if you would have won, it wouldn't have been rigged. But just because you lost, it was rigged. You lie all the time. You got an excuse for everything, like you're Ben Vereen in The Fresh Prince.
You think I want this? It just happened!
And like, those are major things, but it's like the main thing that showed me that you are not that guy is that you lost a debate and proceeded to duck the fade for the remainder of the campaign afterwards. She called you out for a rematch to redeem yourself, and you could not step up to the challenge. Like, I'm always stuck on how people see him as strong when he couldn't even re-up for a rematch. And you know what? America gets what it votes for, because over half of the people decided that this dude was the best option, given the circumstances. And then 90 million people didn't vote at all during this election because they didn't either like the candidates, they were asleep, or they just were undecided for some odd reason. People say both candidates are horrible, so I'm not gonna pick either one. And you know what? I can understand that. I can understand that. But I feel like we just have to learn how to pick our poison sometimes. Like, if somebody has me tied up and they come in the room and they say, hey, you got two options. I can shoot you with this shotgun or I can shoot you with this BB gun. Either way, it's gonna hurt, but which one would you choose? I can't say, can you shoot me with a water gun? That is not an option here. And if I didn't choose, 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure the kidnapper would shoot me with the shotgun just because I wanted to be smart. Like, this is about to be my 3rd Batman reference in this video, but I always used to wonder how the Joker was able to have followers when he was just like an awful person and killing people and just, verbally abusing them and stuff. I always wondered, like, who would follow this man?
Bob? Gun. Going to need a minute or two alone, boys.
And 76 million people proceeded to show me just who would. Women really do hate women, because those 52% of white women, whew, they gonna make sure that a woman isn't on top. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about at all, but I know about 92% of black people voted, so we good on our end. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, I know the next 4 years are gonna be weird and probably rough. Like, at the whole Project 2025 stuff is like, it's real, and it's kind of like they already put some stuff in motion now. So it's gonna be some trying times. At least in 2016, we didn't know what to expect. 2024, there's a whole playbook, so it's kind of like, yeah. Focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. And there's a new movement going around called FAFO. And basically, for those who don't know, you just sit back and watch everything transpire. And if you see somebody who supported this stuff and the buck falls on them, hey bro, it is what it is. Like, these videos are called Just an Opinion. It's time for a wake-up call. And this is about to be a very loud alarm. And we kind of already see things transpiring now to where people are kind of like getting buyer's remorse. Because when the main trending searches the day after the election are, what are tariffs and is it possible for me to change my vote, I think we deserve whatever we get. And also, Batman needs to be real.
I just hate clowns. I saw him on TV once, when he ran for president.
Oh yeah. They never found out how he got on the ballot?